The heatwave is finally over, but don't celebrate just yet, because what's coming next is going to be even more dangerous. We're talking widespread damaging winds, giant hail, and a multi-day flooding threat that could leave entire neighborhoods underwater. Let's break it all down right now. For days, people had been suffocating under a blazing sun and unbearable heat. The sky was dominated by a brilliant, merciless high-pressure system, a dome so stubborn it seemed determined to burn everything beneath it. But every weather drama has its turning point. And today, that change has begun. Right from morning, you could feel something different in the air. That rock-solid summer high-pressure system was starting to crack. Sliding into its place was a rival, a cold, dense air mass pushing down from the north. The collision of these two titans would spark a new drama. Its name, a multi-day severe weather event. Sunday, the first clash. This Sunday marks the opening act. On meteorologists' computer screens, red and orange splotches began pulsing like a heartbeat along the East Coast, from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. And up to New York, the risk was rising. Picnic plans changed. Morning clouds over Pennsylvania, soft and innocent, were destined to grow into monsters by afternoon. These pulse storms, short-lived but violent, would pop up like sudden explosions over Toledo, Cleveland, or Fort Wayne. With them came downbursts, winds screaming at 90 miles per hour, strong enough to tear branches, flip patio furniture, and rip tin roofs from sheds. Just days earlier, on Friday and Saturday, Oklahoma and Arkansas had witnessed similar fury. Near Norman, winds had howled at nearly 100 miles per hour, forcing the cancellation of 4th of July fireworks. Today, the same script was playing out on the East Coast. The biggest fear? The wind. Around Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, forecasters placed a 30% probability of damaging gusts, accompanied by hailstones the size of pocket change. No tornado watch was issued yet, but seasoned storm chasers know that on days like this, nature always has a surprise or two up its sleeve. As evening fell, the storms would march towards Scranton, New York City, and Roanoke. And by nightfall, a new threat would emerge, one far more silent and dangerous than wind. Monday, the flood threat. Monday arrived with a shift in focus. Scattered storms would bubble up across Minnesota and the Dakotas, but the real drama was brewing over Connecticut and southern New England. A weak low-pressure system was stalling, refusing to move like a stubborn guest overstaying its welcome. The result? Rain. Lots of it. For a day, maybe two, the skies would simply open up and pour. The NAM 3K weather model painted a grim picture, 1 to 4 inches of rain across a wide area, with isolated spots receiving even more. Words like major flash flooding began appearing in forecasts, words that make residents nervous, especially those in low-lying neighborhoods near rivers and creeks. Flooding wasn't the only concern. Monday's storms would also pack a punch from D.C. to Richmond, with scattered 60-70 miles per hour wind gusts. By evening, most of that activity would push offshore, leaving behind the persistent rain that would test drainage systems across the northeast. Tuesday and Wednesday, the heart of the storm. If Sunday and Monday were the warm-up, Tuesday was the main event. Meteorologists focused their attention on the northern plains, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. By late afternoon near Fargo, the atmosphere would become volatile. Supercells, those towering, rotating thunderstorms, were expected to fire up around sunset. They would bring very large hail, damaging winds, and a few tornadoes. The significant tornado parameter, a key risk indicator, was forecast to reach values between 1 and 2. That's not a major outbreak, but it's enough to grab your attention. Areas like Alexandria, Brainerd, and Fergus Falls were placed under the microscope. As the sun dipped below the horizon, these isolated storms would merge into a squall line, a relentless convoy of thunderstorms charging toward Minneapolis and Wisconsin. By overnight, the greatest danger would shift from tornadoes to straight-line winds, capable of widespread damage across hundreds of miles. Wednesday felt like déjà vu. The same region, now slightly shifted east into Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, would face another round. Damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes remained on the table. 2 days, 2 rounds, same battleground. The quiet between the storms. By Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the atmosphere would settle into a westerly flow across the Ohio Valley and the East Coast. There would still be scattered storms, but nothing quite as organized. A brief pause, a chance to catch your breath. However, forecasters were already eyeing the middle of July. Long-range models hinted at another system developing over the northern plains, a possible return of significant severe weather around mid-month. The silver lining: relief from the heat. Amidst all this chaos, there was one piece of good news: the heat was breaking. Today, heat indices across the Ohio Valley and Midwest would sit in the pleasant 60s, 70s, and 80s. New York City and Washington, D.C. would barely touch 100 degrees Fahrenheit, a massive relief compared to the scorching days before. This cooler pattern was expected to hold through Tuesday and Wednesday. But don't put the fans away just yet. By next weekend, the heat was expected to return, heat indices climbing back toward 100 degrees Fahrenheit across Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, and Pierre. Summer wasn't done with them yet. Watching the tropics. And there was one more storyline in the wings: the Atlantic Ocean. Right now, the chances of tropical development in the next 10 days were low. But forecasters had their eyes on a couple of tropical waves, potential seeds of something larger. If conditions aligned, a named storm could emerge later in the month. The final message: this wasn't just a weather forecast. It was a story of contrast, fire and ice, wind and rain, heat and relief. Over the next 2 weeks, the United States would experience a dramatic shift, the end of a brutal heat wave, but the beginning of a stormy, unstable chapter. The message from meteorologists was clear: stay informed, stay prepared, and keep your eyes on the sky. Because in this epic battle of air masses, nature writes the script and we're all just watching the show.